Welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. We are celebrating what is turning out to be a big win in Georgia with John Ossoff and Raphael Warnock. It's great because Greg Palast was one of the folks that helped out Stacey Abrams and all the others out there from an investigative point of view. Talk to me, Greg Palast. How did it go? I understand you were out there in Georgia as well.
I'm in Atlanta as we speak, and I'm not leaving because this ain't over. First of all, it's officially it's only going to come down to a few thousand votes in the Ossoff race, and some, maybe 50, 60,000 votes in the Warnock race. That triggers an automatic quote recount, and that's mischief time. The Republican Secretary of State is no hero. This guy is a Jim Crow scumbag. I'm being polite, because it's a family show. But scumbag, whose name is Raffensperger, not Berger, as people mispronounce it, really is Raffensperger, removed 198,000 people from the voter rolls illegally. A massive Jim Crow attack. We all, so understand, I've been working in Georgia for 7 years. I'm the first person to ever put Stacey Abrams on national television, the first person to ever put Raphael Warnock on national television. In fact, I'm going to put part of that original interview with him at the Ebenezer Baptist Church up on gregpalast.com soon. I'll send it to you. You can post it too, Egberto. And
excellent.
So it's been, look, this Jim Crow is still running wild. And Brian Kemp, he's on, he and his Secretary of State are on the fecal roster of Donald Trump. But they did that for a good reason. They tried to save the Senate race. They couldn't save the Senate race and save Donald Trump. They had a choice, and they made a choice to try to. You understand how you're talking like almost 5 million votes, 5 million votes, and the difference is 0.1% officially. Now, understand what the U.S. brain dead press does not report is the tens of thousands of ballots which have been cast and rejected, mail-in ballots still being counted. Rejected. I was at a polling station where 3 African-American voters try to put their ballots in a drop box, and I saw that 2 of the 3 had not put their return address on the outside envelope. But I figured it's right at the polling station. It's not the post office. They would have lost their ballot. I caught them, so I saved a couple votes. But also understand, we've been working on this for years. We filed a federal lawsuit. Got tremendous publicity. I was working at Black Voters Matter to get these people back on the rolls. I gave Black Voters Matter a list that we had created of 98,000 voters illegally removed that they sent postcards to saying, you've been removed from the voter rolls, re-register. We had over 40,000 phone calls made by the Hispanic organization, Southwest Voter Registration Education Project, SVREP. 40,000 phone calls made to Hispanic voters saying, you've been removed from the voter rolls, you better fix your registration right now. We had a billboard with Rosario Dawson, 20 feet high by 60 feet across, or 80 feet across. It's huge electronic billboard over Atlanta saying, you may have been purged, check at gregpalast.com. And Rosario Dawson promoting this. We did PSAs in English and Spanish. So that's one of the things, is that they say, oh, the Hispanic voter turnout is up. No. Hispanics always turn up. They just don't get their votes counted. They're told go away, or they don't get their cards to vote, et cetera. And Black voters turn up, and they say, oh, massive Black turnout. No, because they try to suppress it, but they couldn't. I was in Cobb County, which is part of Atlanta, 500,000 voters. They only had in the general election 11 early voting stations for 500,000 voters. But Biden still won in what was Newt Gingrich's district.
Imagine that, yeah.
And Biden won, so they panicked. They closed 6 of the 11 polling stations, every one of them in Black neighborhoods. Again, you can see all this stuff at gregpalast.com. And so they tried every trick, and they may not be done. The recount on Ossoff is a very dangerous matter. I'm going to tell you something else that's dangerous. The Ossoff seat, or
Warnock is for 2 years.
Yeah, 2 years. The Warnock seat is 2 years only. And the Democrats say, oh, okay, we're in charge. No, you're not in charge, my friends. You've got one slim vote. When, if Kamala Harris gets a cold, the Republicans run the nation. And not, and I have, what, if the voters went for the Republicans, okay, that's democracy. I live with democracy. I don't have a problem. The problem is it's Jim Crow that would win. The Republicans, let's not forget, picked up 8 congressional seats. The Democrats lost ground in the general election in Congress, and they're barely hanging on the Senate. In 2 years, you have a midterm election. The president's party usually loses. So the Democrats, okay, put away the party hats, guys. You've got 2 years of very narrow control to do something for real, because in 2 years you're half an inch away from losing control of both houses of Congress.
Greg, I wrote about that this morning where I said that you got really 2 years to prove yourself, and there are things that I also said. I said, if Democrats know what's good for them, they will get rid of the filibuster immediately so that they can actually get stuff done. Because if they don't, they're going to be held back, and people are going to say nothing changed. Give us a chance again.
I'm very worried about, the Democrats. Everyone says, oh, now they'll pass what was called H.R. 1, which is now called the John Lewis Voting Rights Act,
right?
To stop some of these Jim Crow tactics. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not a very good law. That it's weak and it has its own problems. In fact, someone snuck in what may actually be a new system of removing black voters using this ugly system called ERIC. So
somebody wanted to make some money for their friends who have some sort of software.
There's all this crap. People don't understand what goes into that legislative sausage. And yes, it passed the House, but they knew it was not going to go anywhere in the Senate. Watch the Democrats. So, you got to be very careful that they're going to water it all down. Now that they've got control, they're going to take that bill and they're going to water it down. Because remember, there's a lot of Democrats who don't want Black, Hispanic, and young voters to vote because they won't survive primaries. It's about the incumbents are not going to vote themselves out of office.
Exactly. And that is one interest. I mean, I think a lot of people don't understand it. When I talk about the different factions within the Democratic Party and how sometimes the Democratic Party itself don't want all that progressive support. They really want to stay right there in the center. I mean, almost center right, if you know what I'm talking about, Greg.
Well, I mean, they want to stay. It's not where they want to stay on the political perspective. They just want to stay very close to the wallets of the super rich.
Right.
I mean, remember that there was $500 million spent on this campaign by both sides, more by the Democrats. So the Democrats think that the solution to everything is raising more money. And that means they, when they're sucking up to the rich, they're going to water down what they do.
But you know what? It's interesting between what you guys did with Stacey Abrams and all of that. You all had money, but I mean, you guys weren't the ones cracking up all the big dollars. It's all those consultants and all of that that really do nothing.
Look, I got to tell you, the Democrat Ossoff's 200th commercial didn't mean anything.
Right.
It made a difference. Okay, so we filed a federal court action, like I say, calling 40,000 voters. This was not the Democratic Party.
Right.
And last night I heard, one of the voter groups, we have all these votes that have been rejected, provisional ballots. Tens of thousands. We may need those to make sure that the victory of the voters in Ossoff race actually gets certified.
Let me stop you a second right there, Greg, because Gabriel Sterling came on TV today, and he said the way the numbers are going, he believes that Ossoff is going to be, that Warnock is outside of the 5%, the 0.5% recount. And he believes Ossoff is going to get there as well. Is there something else on the ground that you're hearing that I'm not?
No, well, I think Warnock may pass it. They can't steal all the votes all the time. That guy, Gabriel Sterling, yes, he's had to face death threats, and I'm sorry about that. But he's also been a big part of the purge operation. If you were watching CNN a couple of days ago, he held a press conference. And the minute he saw me, that I was the next reporter to ask a question, he literally ran. The cameras all covered this.
I saw when he took off from this. You were about to ask a question.
They didn't identify me. I'm the guy who said, "Wait a minute." The federal court has said, "You got to sit down with us, buddy, and go over the list of people."
That's when he ran. I saw that.
Yes, that was me. Now, of course, they're not going to, and the rest of the press, they're never going to give me credit for doing anything because they're all wussies. They're never going to ask the tough questions.
But you know,
So they're
interesting
still
enough,
fighting.
I really got upset today with what's the who's going to be the new majority leader of the Senate? Uh,
Schumer.
yeah, he didn't want to give you guys credit. He didn't want to give Stacey Abrams full credit. He didn't want to give all the people that's been working. He gave up people like the DSCC, you know, the senatorial
Yeah.
committee and all that kind of stuff
Well,
that did
where are they
absolutely
today?
nothing.
Where are they today? I got to tell you something. All these people a lot of people were shunted to provisional ballots. I'm in federal court, me, with LaTosha Brown, with Reverend Jesse Jackson, LaTosha Brown and Black Voters Matter, with Barbara Arnwine, Transformative Justice Coalition, with Voto Latino and Rosario Dawson. We're in federal court to say, count the people that were shunted to provisional ballots because they were wrongly purged, count those ballots. The Democratic Party is not with us. The Republican Party is against us. The Republican Party is in court, but not the Democratic Party. And last night I heard one of the organizers, when you in Georgia, if you have a provisional ballot because someone challenged your signature, you forgot that return address. What happens is that you can cure. They call it curing the ballot.
Right.
You can get the ballot counted by fixing it. Just come in and put your return address on. Say yes, that is my signature. That's being done by grassroots, nonpartisan groups. The Democratic Party is missing in action. If it were up to the Democratic Party right now, Loeffler would be a senator, but no question.
Greg, we know that because Schumer pulled out of Georgia. He completely said, he went to the big donors and told them, threw his hands up.
Yes, they what, they gave up on Georgia, but I didn't because I knew that the Georgia, and this again about, I'm not partisan. I don't care who gets elected. Look, I know Warnock. I know Ossoff. The two of us, by the way, both because we worked together at BBC Television in London. And it's not, they're great progressives. They're brilliant men. Probably you're going to have, these are probably two of the most intelligent progressive senators we'll have, and they're from Georgia.
Imagine that, eh?
So I got to tell you that's heartening in terms of policy. I wasn't here to elect Ossoff or Warnock. The Democratic don't decide that the Democratic Party is going to save your vote. You save your vote. So that's been my message. I'm going to have to leave you with that because I'm continuing the work today and in federal court and in investigation, and we're not done. One of the things I'm doing right. In fact, tomorrow I'm heading off to the nuclear plant that's in construction here. It's one of the things that defeated Stacey Abrams because she said, stop building this hunk of hot junk. And not because she's an anti-nuclear person. That's not a question of whether it's safe.
Because it was a boondoggle.
It was a crazy boondoggle that was going to cost each Georgia family thousands. Poor people were going to be paying for this white elephant that was enriching people like Kelly Loeffler, who was on the board of directors of Georgia Power. And so it's all the money. Exactly. It's money. So we're going to follow the money because this race ain't over. When I say it's not over, even if they can't steal enough votes to keep it away from Ossoff, in 2 years, there's a new election.
Warnock is going to
have to run again.
Right.
And we expect Stacey Abrams to be running for governor. They're going to do everything in the world to steal that one. Plus, don't forget, it's not just this state where these Jim Crow tactics are being used.
It's all over.
It's all over. So this story ain't over.
And by the way, and as you know, because you went ahead and did some stuff in Chicago, I imagine, if I remember correctly, it's not just in the South either. It's all over.
In the South. In fact, we did our investigation here for the ACLU.
Right.
In Wisconsin, I was working for Black Voters Matter. The only reason Joe Biden's president, he won Wisconsin by just 20,000 votes. And I got to tell you, it's because with Black Voters Matter and the Palast Investigative Fund, we also identified 100,000 people wrongly purged from the voter rolls, and the Wisconsin Bipartisan Board of Elections, because it wasn't Republican controlled, said we're not going to purge these voters. If those voters had been purged, and again, it wasn't the Democratic Party that challenged the purge.
Grassroots activists. Hey, I asked you for 10 minutes because I know you had a lot of stuff to go out there and do. I'm not going to make you late for your next appointment again. So Greg Palast, please folks go to Palast.com. Keep up to date with all this voter suppression stuff around the country. It doesn't only affect Black people now, it's a class thing as well. And by the way, go follow Greg on Twitter, Greg_Palast. Greg_Palast. Greg, it's been my pleasure to have you on Politics Done Right. You keep on doing the great work, stay on the ground, and keep me posted, brother.
You got it. Great work. Thanks a lot, Egberto.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead, number one, subscribe to our channel, and number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.